Hello, viewers of Core 77. I'm Bruce Sterling, and I'm one of the judges in the speculative design category. I am a novelist. I write science fiction. I'm a blogger for Wired.com, and I've been known to hang out in design school and write for the design press. And I'm also something of an activist in the speculative category, which is why I got picked for this particular job. I was involved, for instance, in this eMerge event recently in Arizona, which had a lot of design fiction luminaries and so forth. So my fellow judges and I have put together a decision on this speculative design category, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about our philosophy and how we decided on how to do things. And I'm going to tell you a bit about the biography of our judges. As you can see, I'm the only judge here, and that's because we're from different parts of the planet. We're from Mexico City and Portland and Moscow, and I'm from Austin, Belgrade, and Turin, pretty much all by myself. So we did all our judging online while we were on the road. And in fact, I'm on the road right now, shooting this on an iPhone in an undisclosed location. So I'm going to tell you something about the biography of my fellow judges. So let me tell you a bit about the other jurors in the speculative design category. Number one would be Irina Kharseeva. She's from Moscow. And Irina works for a tech startup in Moscow, which is called AR Door. And they are an augmented reality company. They're in the business of augmenting Russian reality. And she's their public relations person in this high-tech Russian startup. Young, cutting-edge, visionary, quite a lively person, our Irina. And she's a business entrepreneur. And our second juror is Bernardo Fernandez, who's universally known as BEF, B-E-F. And BEF is a graphic design instructor from the Centro School in the downtown Mexico City area, in a kind of media district, hotbed of television, media, radio, and so forth. So BEF not only is a design academic, he's also a comic book illustrator and a novelist. So he's the author of a recent best-selling novel in Mexico, which is called Hielo Negro, or Black Ice, which is an exciting crime thriller about the narcotics industry on the American, on the U.S.-Mexican border. So BEF is quite an unusual figure and quite a knowledgeable guy in many different areas. And then our third judge is Maria Bezaitis, who is an Intel researcher and an ethnographer. And Maria is an activist. She has been a very busy organizer behind the scenes of Intel's many cultural and professional outreach organizations. She was the keynoter at the eMerge event in Arizona State University. Maria is a very knowledgeable person when it comes to speculative design, prototypes, and research and development. So she's our business R&D person. And then there's myself, and I'm blogger and journalist. So now I'll tell you a little bit about the philosophy that the four of us adopted in trying to determine the winners among really a thriving and very interesting set of entries. So let me try to explain the ideas we had about merit in the speculative design category, and I'm going to have to make use of my laptop here because we had some rather elaborate Mexican-Russian Portland, Oregon discussions on this topic. But we figured that speculative design ought to be speculative. And designs that were merely unproduced but otherwise rather everyday design work were not of much interest to our special category. We wanted to find work that captures the imagination, and especially work that opens up new conceptual areas for design to explore in the future. nice chairs and lamps and sort of pretty form giving is not something that we really want to valorize. It helps, of course, if these speculative designs are elegant and solid. We feel they should be genuine design work and not merely jokes or provocations or political statements of some kind. But we prefer big, ambitious speculations about large opportunities for design rather than minor speculations about possible product detail. So we rated our entries from the best, which would be 5, to number 1, which we would consider ridiculous. And I'm happy to say that among our many entries, there was not a single genuinely ridiculous entry. Some were very imaginative, but there were none that were merely silly, and we were really happy and pleased to see so much quality in the material that we went through. Thank you. All right, now I have the pleasure of describing our notables, our runners-up, and our winners. And I'll describe them in reverse order so as to keep the psychological tension as high as possible. So let's start with our notables. One notable we were very happy with, Future Visions for Synthetic Biology. This is an entry from Intel, and Bernardo was particularly impressed at this intense collaboration between designers and scientists, the way it was taking really cutting-edge discoveries in the laboratory and moving them into areas of possible mass application. And I agree that this is a thing that IDEO really did themselves up proud. This is a nice, professional piece of speculative work, which is quite far out and at the same time quite convincing and handled in rather an elegant way. But we also had a tremendous enthusiasm for an entry called Sandbox, and Bernardo and I were particularly enthusiastic about this method of going about exploring form and shapes. Bernardo became quite poetic about it. He referred to it as serendipitous genesis, which led into a ludic methodological process, and I had to agree with that wonderful piece of design speakerese. It really is a beautiful example of play moving into practical areas. And I really liked this hands-on grain of the material aspect of getting very tactile and very immediate with real design materials, and then using modern or even slightly ahead of the curve fabrication processes to bring out forms and objects that are really without precedent. However, our two female judges were not so enthusiastic about Sandbox. So Sandbox is notable. And then we have our runners-up. And one runner-up, which was very attracted great enthusiasm, was Chromatic Typewriter. We feel that Chromatic Typewriter is the kind of entry we would like to see more of. It's speculative design, but in a very fluid, poetic, even dreamlike fashion, and there's something very imaginative about it. Unfortunately, it's not really design. It's kind of closer to a tech art installation. It is very poetically mysterious and speculative. It has a mind-expanding quality to it. We enjoyed it a great deal, but we did not feel it was quite hitting the center of the target. On the other hand, if it comes to out-of-the-box thinking and work which is provocative and capturing of the imagination, Chromatic Typewriter, hard to beat. And then our second runner-up was the video Urban Flow Helsinki, which attracted strong enthusiasm. Bernardo said these people get what design fiction is all about. And I have to agree, it's one of the best handled and most ambitious works of design fiction that I've ever seen. And we all admire it a great deal. But there's rather a lot of it, and it feels almost more like the tour of a city than a specific work of speculative design, which leads us to our winner. Make sure I haven't lost any here. No, that's all of them. It leads us to our winner, which is Window to the World. A beautiful piece of work, which attracted unanimous praise from everybody. Moscow was ecstatic about it, loved the augmented reality aspects of this media intervention. Portland, admiring its human qualities, its willingness to see through the eyes of children, to go outside normal consumer demographics, really liven things up. Mexico City, agreeing that this is design fiction on top of its game, really deft, fast, quick, capturing of the imagination. And Austin, admitting that this is just a very solid, very attractive, professionally executed piece of speculative design. So it has universal, or at least it has a global accolade that no other entry could match. There was no entry which attracted so much enthusiasm from both genders, 3 countries, 4 different lines of work. So yes, our winner for 2012 is the entry Window to the World. And we're all grateful for the opportunity to have seen these things. We learned a lot by all the entries. We were happy with all of them. We're closer friends now after having gone through this judgment ordeal together. And we hope to see work of this caliber, or perhaps even better, next year. So thank you very much.